Hello there. You're safe, and you're welcome here. Wherever you are listening from, whatever kind of day you've had, now is the time to let go, to rest, and drift back, slowly, quietly, into another world, far away in time. A world of clay homes and stone streets, of gentle breezes and river banks, of people who lived long ago, in a place known to us as the Indus Valley. Tonight, I'll tell you a quiet story, a very soft story, not of kings or wars or monuments, but of peaceful, ordinary afternoons. The kind of afternoons that stretch slowly, with the sun high in the sky, when everything is calm, and time flows like water. You don't need to remember any names. You don't need to follow anything closely. Just lie back, let your eyes grow heavy, and listen as we visit a sleepy day, in a very ancient land. Imagine now, slowly forming in your mind, a gentle afternoon in a place called Mohenjo-Daro. It is a soft, sunlit day, sometime around 2200 BCE. You find yourself standing in a quiet, dusty lane. The sun is warm, but not too hot, the air dry and still, and the mud-brick walls around you cast long, slanting shadows. The buildings are simple, yet orderly. Every stone and every layer of baked clay was placed with care, and with time. The ground beneath your feet is firm, packed with fine dust and pebbles. A few footprints remain from earlier, but now, everything is still. Somewhere behind the walls, you hear the muffled sound of a pot being placed on a shelf. Further off, someone hums a soft tune, perhaps to pass the time. A goat bleats lazily, then quiet again. You are standing in one of the oldest, most mysterious cities the world has ever known, but for now, it's just you, and the gentle hum of afternoon. The people here move slowly in the afternoon hours. They rise early, you see, with the sun, and by this time of day, most heavy tasks are done. So now, things grow quieter. A woman sits in the shade, grinding grain with a round stone. The rhythm is soft, slow, stone against stone, like a gentle heartbeat. Beside her, a child draws shapes in the dust. Circles, lines, a little animal perhaps. There is no rush. Only the afternoon. The homes here are cool inside. Thick walls, small windows, built with wisdom passed down over many generations. Each home is different, but shares a quiet dignity. Sometimes 2 stories tall, with stairs made of stone slabs. Simple, clean, no clutter, no noise. Inside, a woven mat, a low clay shelf, perhaps a few pottery vessels, each one shaped by hand. Their surfaces are smooth, some painted with black lines, tiny fish, or birds in flight. Outside, a clay jar collects the last bit of water, from a gentle splash poured hours ago. A thin trail of it dries on the clay, like a memory slowly fading in the sun. Out in the lane, the breeze returns for a moment. It picks up a bit of dust and drifts through the space between homes. It carries the faint smell of clay and dry grass, maybe even a hint of cumin, or crushed leaves. Somewhere nearby, a basket lid is gently lifted. Inside, a row of small lentils rests in the sun. A woman brushes a few away with her fingers, not hurriedly, just checking for stones. In the distance, a man walks down the street with a small ox, the animal's hooves making a slow, deliberate pattern in the dust. He is heading toward the river, maybe, but he's in no hurry either. You might be wondering, what did these people think about, in these long, still hours? Maybe they thought of nothing in particular. Maybe they watched the light move across the walls, like a slow dance of time. Or maybe they listened to the scratch of birds on the rooftops, to the echo of a stone falling into a jar, to the sigh of the wind as it curled through narrow lanes. There is no sense of urgency here, just the soft hush of life being lived. A small boy appears, carrying a round clay toy on a string. It looks like a spinning top, hand-formed and fired in a kiln. He crouches low, pulls the string, and it dances. He smiles quietly to himself. Not loud, not wild, just a little moment of joy. Somewhere nearby, a soft flute plays. Not a performance, just someone resting in the shade, letting the notes drift out over the rooftops. The sun has moved ever so slightly in the sky, but still it shines gently down on the quiet lanes of the city. There is no clock here, no urgency, no appointments. Only the rhythm of life, guided by the movement of the light and the warmth of the day. In a shaded courtyard, you find a woman kneeling beside a low platform of clay. Before her are rows of pots, some freshly shaped, others already dry and hardened. With her hands, strong, weathered, and calm, she dips a slender reed into a small black mixture, and carefully paints a pattern around the neck of one vessel. A bird, a wave, perhaps a symbol passed from mother to daughter for generations. Her movements are slow and sure. The pot will dry before sundown. There is no rush. Just the quiet work of practiced hands. In another part of the city, a man smooths out a slab of clay, spread across a low, circular platform. He's shaping bricks, the kind used to build the very walls and walkways you passed earlier. Each one is molded by hand, pressed evenly, then left to dry in the sun. The shape is almost always the same, standard, practical, simple. But there is something beautiful in the consistency of it all. The way each brick will one day fit perfectly into a wall, a bath, a home. As if the city itself remembers how to grow. The air smells faintly of river dust and damp clay. Near a shaded wall, an elderly woman weaves strips of dried rushes into a soft, low basket. She hums as she works, a tune passed down, perhaps no longer even remembered in meaning, but part of her muscle memory. Her fingers move without thought, over, under, pull, tighten, press. The weave grows gradually in her lap. She pauses to sip from a small cup of cooled barley water, its surface catching a sliver of light. Then, she continues. In the next courtyard over, a young man is repairing a cartwheel. The wheel itself is wooden, held together by thick, curved spokes that have seen many miles of dry ground. He works slowly, his brow shaded by a thin cloth tied loosely across his head. Occasionally, he wipes the wheel down with a palm leaf brush, checking for splinters, listening to the quiet creak as he turns it. His younger brother watches him, sitting in the dirt with a piece of broken pot, pretending to fix his own invisible wheel. The rhythm of life continues, passed quietly from one generation to the next. Further into the city, you come upon what was once a workshop, perhaps used for making beads or tools. Inside, two artisans sit in the filtered light. One uses a bow drill, a gentle tool made of string and wood, that slowly spins a tiny chert bead in place. His hand moves slowly, steady and calm, as if playing an ancient instrument. The other sorts tiny shells, discarding those too soft or broken, lining up the rest like little moons on a flat dish. They don't speak much. Just the sound of the drill, the occasional sigh, and the distant murmur of pigeons nesting overhead. From time to time, someone passes by the doorway, carrying a cloth bundle of lentils or a long branch of dried herbs. Footsteps echo lightly across the stone threshold, but no one is in a hurry. The workshop has no door, just a shaded curtain of reeds, swaying slightly with the breeze. And above them, the sun continues its slow arc, toward the western sky. Now, just past the workshop, there is a man sitting near a kiln. It has already cooled from the morning's firing, but still, a faint warmth rises from its core. Around him are shards, fragments of broken vessels, bits of fired clay, pieces that didn't quite survive the heat. But he isn't upset. He examines them quietly, tracing the cracks, deciding which pieces might be repurposed, and which to return to the earth. Nothing is wasted here. Even the broken has a purpose. Like silence between notes in a lullaby. Back in the courtyard, another family prepares cloth to be dyed. A young girl smooths out a length of linen, stretching it over a low wooden frame. Her mother stirs a pot filled with natural pigment, perhaps from crushed berries or soaked roots. The smell is earthy, a little sweet, and the color is somewhere between rust and rose. She lifts the brush, dips it slowly, and applies the first sweep of dye. It soaks in softly, like the first stroke of a sunset. Everywhere you walk, you sense the same rhythm. Slow, grounded, intentional. Nothing feels wasted. No moment, no movement, no breath. Even in work, there is peace. Even in repetition, there is care. The air begins to shift slightly now. A tiny breath of coolness hints at the approaching evening, but the afternoon still lingers. There is still time. Still clay to shape, and gentle lines to paint. Still baskets to weave, and wheels to turn. Still sunlight, to fall across quiet hands at work. Let us step now, gently, inside. Through a rounded archway made of baked bricks, beneath a simple lintel carved with care, into a home that has stood quietly for generations. The air is cooler here, sheltered from the sun. Walls rise around you, thick, comforting, smoothed over with layers of pale clay. A faint scent of earth and ash lingers. Not unpleasant, just ancient. A memory held in the walls. In this quiet home, every corner whispers stories. To your left, a cooking area rests in a low alcove. A small clay stove, its top blackened from countless meals. Near it, several pots, round, wide, and well used. Each one tells a quiet tale. One may have held lentils cooked that very morning, another, barley porridge sweetened with dates, and another, still warm, perhaps holds milk, gathered from a goat not long ago. The hearth is not burning now, but its ashes are still warm to the touch, a sign of recent life, and of a simple, nourishing meal now finished. A woman sits nearby, her back to the wall, legs stretched comfortably. She wears a soft linen wrap, her hair tied loosely with a length of reed fiber cord. Her fingers are busy with thread, perhaps mending a shawl, or stitching a delicate border into a square of cloth. She hums softly, her eyes half closed, not in sleep, but in a calm beyond sleep. Occasionally she glances out the window, just to check the sun, or listen for a voice. But for now, the home is quiet. And so is she. The stillness continues upstairs. Yes, some homes have upper levels. Simple staircases rise from the central room, each step uneven, but strong. At the top, a flat rooftop bathed in light. It is here that people come to sit, to feel the breeze, to share fruit, or tell stories, or simply be. A boy lays stretched across a woven mat, a small folded cloth beneath his head. He is not quite asleep, but his breathing is slow. Beside him, a woman sorts seeds into tiny piles, lentils, sesame, mustard. Her fingers move automatically, familiar with the task. Each seed makes a soft tapping sound as it lands on the flat clay dish. And all around them, only the hum of distant birds and the hush of the sky. A clay jar rests in one corner, its neck covered by a simple woven lid. Inside, cool water waits patiently, preserved from the heat by thick walls. A small cup hangs from a loop of fiber nearby, the kind of cup you dip slowly, watching tiny ripples spread across the surface, before sipping, slowly, quietly, and returning it to its place. This rooftop is not for work, but for being. For waiting, for resting, for sharing silence with the sky. As the day leans into its quietest hours, more people nap. Afternoon rest is not an indulgence here, it is part of life. In a shaded corner of one home, an older man sleeps on a straw mat, his hands folded over his chest. His sandals lie nearby, and beside him, a small wooden object, a carved animal perhaps, rests untouched. The room is silent, except for the faint sound of his breathing, and the slow ticking of unseen time. Even the wind seems to hold its breath. On the wall above him, a niche holds a simple object, perhaps a stone, or a smooth clay figure in the shape of a goddess. These small sacred items, symbols of home and earth and memory, are not for display. They are for presence, for stillness, for connection. Each family has its own, passed from hand to hand, with stories whispered only during quiet hours later. On another rooftop, a mother combs her daughter's hair. The girl sits still, her hands in her lap, eyes half closed from the slow, methodical strokes. The mother hums. Not a song, but more like a note from the earth itself. Soft, low, endlessly patient. And above them, clouds drift lazily, like floating cloth across the sky. From home to home, rooftop to rooftop, a quiet chorus builds. Not loud, not structured, but simply the sound of stillness, in pots and shadows and threads, in water jars and sleeping dogs, in slow breaths shared between walls. The Indus Valley afternoon does not call for drama. It is a time for pause, for softness, for presence. And still the sun lingers, not yet ready to set. There is time for one more sip of water, one more braid tied gently, one more nap in the shade, before the streets stir again, and the evening calls. But for now, for just a little while longer, the world remains wrapped in quiet light, in a wide, open space just past the houses, where the shade from rooftops begins to melt into light. A group of children has gathered. The sun is lower now, its warmth still gentle, but slowly softening to gold. The dust here is fine and dry, perfect for drawing with fingers or sticks. You can almost feel its texture, warm from the day, yet cool beneath the surface. A boy kneels to draw a circle, another marks out squares, and soon, a game begins. It is not loud, there is no shouting, just quiet joy, shared with knowing glances, and the occasional giggle that escapes like a bubble. Two girls sit cross-legged beside a small clayboard. They are playing with tiny carved tokens, maybe animals, maybe discs. The game is familiar to them, perhaps passed down from elder sisters, or watched and learned in silence. Their fingers move quickly but gently. One flicks a token across the surface. It lands with a soft tap. The other girl smiles. The game continues. Nearby, a boy ties a piece of string around a small piece of shaped wood. When he spins it, it whirls across the ground like a tiny dancing bird. He watches it go, then catches it in one motion. The joy is in the movement itself. Beside the game, a small animal lies curled up. A goat, perhaps, or a calm little dog, its ears flicking at the sound of children. It rests with its head on its paws, watching the world with half-closed eyes. Not bothered by the noise, not alert, just present. Animals in this place are part of the rhythm. They move among the people, not as pets exactly, but as quiet companions. Further off, an elder sits on a low stone. His hair is gray and tied loosely with a reed cord. His robe is simple, and his feet are bare. Around him, 3 or 4 children listen intently. He is telling a story, something old, something heard many times before, yet still as soothing as a river's voice. He doesn't rush. He speaks slowly, pausing often, letting the silence do the work. The children lean in when he lowers his voice. They smile when his fingers move to act out a fish, or a crane, or a monkey hiding in a tree. The story is not about heroes. It is about seasons, and animals, and learning to notice the sky. From the riverbank, you can hear birds beginning their slow return. Cranes, egrets, their calls soft and distant, not loud enough to interrupt the story, but present like a melody beneath the words. Above, the clouds have turned slightly orange, like clay mixed with dusk. A potter walking nearby pauses for a moment, basket balanced on his hip, to listen to the end of the elder's tale. He doesn't speak. He simply smiles, and continues on his path, his footsteps swallowed by the dust. A few older children begin gathering pebbles from the lane. They set them in a row, sorted by color, or shape, or pattern. No reason, really. Just because it feels right. Another group lays out small clay dolls, each shaped by hand, some with tiny arms or wheel-like legs. Some painted, some not. Their purpose isn't clear to us, but to the children, it is obvious. These are not just toys. They are part of the world. Of their world. Now, the elder has fallen quiet. He leans back, watching the sky change color above the rooftops. He doesn't need to say anything more. The story lingers in the air, like incense that drifts even after the flame is gone. One by one, the children rise. Some return to rooftops, others to courtyards, each fading into the softening light. And the elder remains, still watching, as if remembering all the afternoons that have ever come before. Now the village settles into its quietest hours. Not dark yet, but ready. Children's games leave gentle scuff marks in the dust. The dolls remain in their place, until a breeze, later in the night, nudges them gently toward sleep. No one hurries. No one speaks loudly. The rhythm of dusk is not to be interrupted. Chapter 5, the peaceful rhythm of trade. As the sun dips just behind the low horizon, its final warmth brushing rooftops like a painter's hand, the village gently shifts its energy. Afternoon gives way to something quieter, not sleep, not darkness, but a kind of hush that fills the air like soft music. From narrow alleyways and open courtyards, people begin to walk slowly toward the evening gathering. There is no rush, no loud calls, no sharp exchanges, only the soft rhythm of feet on packed earth and stone. The market is beginning. At the center of the village, a broad open space gently stirs. It's not a bustling market, not in the way we might think of one. There are no vendors shouting, no clamor of coin. Instead, it's more like a meeting place. Laid out on woven mats or low stone tables, are items made with care, brought not just to trade, but to share, to exchange, to connect. Here are copper bangles, glinting softly in the evening light. Next to them, clay jars still cool from storage, their smooth sides traced with swirling lines. Folded cloths lie in tidy rows, undyed linen, light indigo, and some faintly brown from bark. And everywhere, baskets. Shallow ones, deep ones, tightly woven reed containers, holding dates, sesame, lentils, barley. There is no money changing hands. Instead, a quiet form of barter. A potter offers a large jar in exchange for 2 bundles of herbs. A weaver gently holds up a bolt of linen, its edges dyed with marigold and mud, and nods when a trader places down a pair of fishhooks made from bronze. No one haggles loudly. There is a kind of knowing, a shared agreement of value, built on time, tradition, and trust. Children linger nearby, eyes wide but voices low, watching their parents trade, as if watching a ritual. As night begins to lean gently across the rooftops, small lanterns are lit. Not the bright kind, but low flames inside clay vessels, just enough to see the outline of a face, or the shimmer of copper in someone's hand. The flames flicker in slow rhythm, their light pooling on the ground, like amber water. People stand in soft circles, speaking in low voices, their words not loud enough to carry far. The topics are simple. What the river brought today, which reed patch was most fragrant, a pot that cracked unexpectedly, a baby that smiled for the first time. The market has become a kind of storytelling place. At the far edge of the space, a man kneels by a basket. Inside are small lumps of jaggery, wrapped in leaves, and bundles of dried fruit. He offers them to a passing mother, who trades a skein of wool. She hands one piece of fruit to her daughter, who accepts it carefully, as if it were treasure. Not far off, an older woman sits behind a small mat, lined with smooth stones. Some are painted, some marked with tiny carvings, perhaps tokens of play, perhaps charms. No one is quite sure anymore. A boy trades her a feather, with brilliant blue tips, a fair price, it seems. Now the sky above has turned to velvet, and the stars blink softly into view. A few families begin drifting back home, carrying new items in cloth wraps, or balanced in baskets. Some stay longer, sitting cross-legged on the ground, simply talking, not about trade, but about weather, about birds, about what kind of cloud brings rain, and which wind means it will pass. Oxen pass nearby, pulling carts creaking softly on wooden wheels. The bells at their necks give out occasional chimes, not loud, but enough to remind the village. The day is ending. At the center of it all, someone begins to hum. No song exactly, just a slow rhythm, as natural as a heartbeat. Others hum with them, until the sound becomes part of the evening itself, a quiet thread tying people together, in the hush between work and sleep. This, too, is part of the marketplace. Not trade, not speech, but sound that carries no purpose, except to remind us that we are not alone. When the lanterns are finally extinguished, one by one, their smoke rises in slow curls. No one lingers too long. There is always another evening, always another chance to trade, or talk, or sit quietly, and hum. The market space empties slowly, and soon, it is quiet again. Only the sound of sandals on packed earth, and the faint hush of wind weaving through the trees. the stillness of evening approaches. As the last sounds of the evening market drift softly into memory, another space awakens, not with noise or bustle, but with calm, sacred quiet. This is not a temple like towering stone ziggurats or massive pyramid walls. No. The temples of the Indus Valley are quieter things. Courtyards, open to the sky. Modest enclosures built of baked brick. Low walls and shaded alcoves. Their strength lies not in grandeur, but in stillness. And now, at twilight, they glow gently under the first light of the moon. One by one, figures approach with reverence. Not hurried, not solemn, just peacefully present. Some carry small offerings, bundles of herbs, hand-shaped flower cakes, tiny bowls of sesame oil. Not because they must, but because it feels right to bring something with them into the quiet. Children come too, not forbidden, but welcomed, as long as they can listen to the hush. They follow parents or older siblings, barefoot across smooth brick floors, softly curious. At the center of many courtyards is a basin, not elaborate, but beautifully worn. Its stone edge rounded smooth, by decades, maybe centuries, of careful hands. Water rests inside, still as glass. Some kneel to touch it, others sprinkle it lightly on their brow. There is no priest, no sermon, only the moment, and the feeling of being near something ancient, something bigger than words. The water shimmers, reflecting not just the moon, but every flickering clay lamp, set along the courtyard walls. Along the outer wall, a few elders sit cross-legged, not speaking, but watching. One hums gently, a soft sound like wind moving through tall reeds. Others join, not in song exactly, more like tone, a shared vibration. It moves through the courtyard like a gentle current. And in the shadows, clay lamps flicker steadily, each flame nourished by sesame oil, each wick hand twisted from fibers of twisted flax or date palm. The smoke rises slowly, sweet and soft, barely noticed except for the way it catches the air. A woman sits near a carved niche in the wall. Inside, a rounded stone rests, perhaps a symbol of something divine, or simply something ancient. She lights an incense reed, lets the scent curl through the cool night air. Nearby, a man draws simple shapes in the dirt, with the tip of a reed. Swirls, circles, lines that meet and flow. They are not decorations. They are meditations, movements of the hand, that quiet the mind. Not far away, a small bell chimes once. Not a summons. Not a command. Just a moment's marker, like a whisper to the sky. The sound hangs in the air, then fades gently, like a breath exhaled. And in this moment, every footstep is slower, every voice quieter, every thought wrapped in a soft hush, like woven linen around clay. In one corner of the courtyard, a child sits beside their grandparent, watching the smoke rise. The elder whispers stories, not myths of gods and monsters, but memories of harvest moons, of herons in the shallows, of what the stars looked like during a great flood long ago. The child listens, eyes wide but calm, head resting on a folded cloth. It is late now, but no one rushes them. In the temple courtyard, time does not press. Finally, someone begins to extinguish the flames. Not all at once. One lamp, then another, each one dimming like a note at the end of a lullaby. Some people rise to go, their steps slow and soundless. Others remain, choosing to sit a little longer, to breathe in the scent of the stones, to let the silence settle into their skin. Overhead, the sky deepens to ink, and from beyond the walls, the sound of river water, lapping gently, like a cradle rocking slowly in the dark. And so the temple sleeps, not locked, not closed, just at rest, its stones still warm, its silence still alive. Those who leave carry with them, not answers, not revelations, but the quiet that lives in the breath between thoughts, in the moment between footsteps, in the hush that holds the world before dreams come. The river waits in silence. Now, after the last lamp is dimmed, and the final footfalls leave the temple courtyard, the village turns ever so gently toward the river. Not in haste, but in quiet companionship. The river has always waited there, just beyond the walls, just past the trees, just down the slope worn smooth by thousands of peaceful footsteps. Some walk with a bowl or cup, just to fill it. Some sit on low stones, legs folded, watching the ripples like memories drift past. Others come for no reason at all, only to be near the water, before they sleep. The river speaks, but so softly, that no one truly listens with ears. It is more of a hum, a feeling in the chest, as if the earth itself is exhaling. Slow, long, content. Nearby, goats rest in clusters, heads nestled against each other, their bellies full from a day of grazing. A few stray dogs curl beside the granary's warm wall, their ears twitching in dreams. And the bullock carts, empty now, stand like sleeping giants in the open spaces, their wooden wheels creaking once, then stilled. The village speaks no words now. Its language has become the hush of straw mats unrolled, of arms wrapped around shoulders, of eyes closing without effort. The homes are dim now, but still warm. Inside, a faint scent of baked wheat and sweet spices lingers. The hearths no longer burn, but still hold the memory of fire, like a soft heartbeat beneath the earth. Someone adjusts a mat, another stirs and settles again, and in the granary, the stored grain rests just as quietly, sealed in clay pots, knowing its purpose will come with the morning. Outside, near the edge of the settlement, an elder looks up, one last time. He watches a faint trail of stars, the kind that drift low along the river's curve. He smiles, not because of what they mean, but simply because they're there, faithful, soft, and endless in this final quiet. Even the moon seems to move more slowly. Its reflection glides along the river like a gentle boat, floating past the dreams of thousands of souls, tucked in close, blanketed by reeds, stone, and starlight. The world of the Indus Valley, the fires, the voices, the carving of pots, and counting of grain, the games, the trades, the temple offerings, has faded for the day. But not ended, just resting, so let your breath fall gently now, as theirs once did. Let the hush of that ancient water carry your thoughts away, not quickly, not far, just far enough to drift into dreams. Let the river hold you. Let the night keep you. Let this ancient world tuck you in, without words, without worry. Just quiet. Just calm. Just sleep. Good night. From the riverbanks of long ago, where the fires have cooled, and the dreams begin.